again, same page as Friday. You should be on page 14 of your notebook. And let's kind of refresh. We talked about two different ways to multiply. The FOIL method, which I'm calling distribution. Does anyone remember why we don't call it FOIL necessarily all the time? Because what? Because it's just distribution, which it is. Does anyone remember what FOIL stands for? You may not have written it down.
I don't think you told us.
I didn't tell this class? So first, outside, inside, last is technically what it stands for. The reason we don't call it FOIL all the time is because once we get past a binomial times a binomial, that acronym doesn't work anymore. But distribution always works. And then we have the box method, which really organizes your life a little bit. Okay? I'm going to allow you to choose either method when you solve. However, if you're getting it wrong consistently by using a certain method, I'm going to make you switch methods and try a different way, because that way is obviously not working. Okay? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Before we get started again, who can remind me what a polynomial is? Mohammed. Okay. You should pay attention to these definitions because they may be on your test. A polynomial is a string of terms separated by addition and subtraction signs. What's a monomial? A single term, a binomial, two terms, a trinomial, three terms. Okay? You should know all of those definitions. So on Friday, we took the exact same problem and did the FOIL method and the box method and got the same answer. The difference here in comparison to what we've done in the past is I wrote my terms vertically so that I could just add instead of writing them out all horizontally and circling and underlining my common terms. Box method keeps everything organized. What do we know about the box method that becomes helpful? The like terms are always diagonals. If they're not like terms, they won't be. If there are no like terms, that's fine. But if there are, it should be a diagonal. Okay. So we finished with 2 by 2s. Let's look at a 2 by 3. So we're going to look at x plus 2 times x squared minus 5x plus 4. And we're going to do this one together. And we're going to do it both ways. I think the larger our terms get, so a binomial times a trinomial, or a trinomial times a trinomial, the box method I find is easier. If you don't like the box, then don't use it. Okay, we're going to do both, and you're going to write down both. So let's start with distribution. Okay, I'll give you another second to write. So x plus 2 times x squared minus 5x plus 4. If I start with distribution, I'm going to take the first term in my first set of parentheses and multiply it by everything in the second set of parentheses. So 2. And I'm literally going to multiply it out. So x times x squared, x to the third, x times negative 5x. Okay, negative 5x squared, and x times 4. 4x. So that is the x multiplied by everything in the second set of parentheses. I'm going to do the same thing with the 2 and multiply it by everything in the second set of parentheses. So 2 times x squared, 2x squared, and I'm going to stack it so that my like terms I can just add at the end. 2 times negative 5x, negative 10x, and 2 times 4, 8. Okay, you're going to combine like terms. You do not want to mess up because you added and subtracted wrong. So watch your positives and negatives. If you struggle with that, then use a calculator. So x to the third I can just rewrite because there's nothing to combine it with. Negative 5 plus 2, negative 3x squared, 4 minus 10, negative 6x, and then that positive 8 at the end. So that's distribution. We're going to do the box for this one as well. What changes about my box, though? It's going to get bigger. So how many rows and how many columns would you say? Okay, it doesn't really matter. You can do 2 rows, 3 columns. You can do 3 columns, 2 rows. I'm going to do the rows first, just because I don't want to waste as much paper. If I do it the other way, it's a longer box, right? My box is vertical versus horizontal. But what's going to have to go down the side? The x plus 2, because it's a binomial and I have 2 rows, which means along the top is x squared minus 5x and a plus 4. Another thing that I'm noticing is we're writing down the questions wrong. So if you write down the question wrong, you're probably not going to get the answer right. Okay, so make sure you double check your writing down the answer as well. When I multiply in the box, I get x to the third, negative 5x squared, and 4x. And what does this box remind us of? A Punnett square from biology, right? 2x squared, negative 10x, and 8. I have the exact same terms. The difference is they're in a box. And then I can look at diagonals. The diagonals will be my like terms. So x to the third comes out. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3x squared. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6x, and then that 8. So again, either method that you choose is fine. As our problems get bigger, I think the box is easier to organize. If you hate the box, then don't use it. Okay, I'm going to let you try one on your own. You ready? Okay. So how about 3x minus 4 times negative 2x squared plus 5x minus 6. 3x minus 4 times negative 2x squared plus 5x minus 6. I'm going to come around. Reminder, each term has its own box. Okay, so I did my binomial times my trinomial. To get inside the box, you multiply. So 3x times negative 2x squared is negative 6x to the third. 3x times 5x is 15x squared. 3x times negative 6 is negative 18x. If you use distribution, you should have those exact terms for your first line. Okay, and then when I multiply here, I get a positive 8x squared, a negative 20x, and a positive, not 10, try again, 24. I added. Try again. How about 24? That's it. What? Oh. You can buy whiteout. Okay, again, your diagonals should be your like terms. Okay, one thing I want you to watch, because as I was walking around, there are a few things. One, we're not multiplying correctly, or we're adding, which we're not supposed to do with coefficients. And 2, we're not changing the exponents like we should. So they should match up in the diagonals. Final answer is negative 6x to the third. 8 plus 15 is 23x squared. Negative 20 minus 18 is a negative 38x. And then I have that positive 24. I promise you, as soon as these continue to get larger, the box is more helpful. Unless you have not gotten any wrong using distribution. Okay, I promise it organizes it for you a little bit better. Because now, I'm going to give you a 3 by 3. Okay, so again, I would use the box. It will probably organize your life a little bit better. How many rows and how many columns will you have?
3 by 3.
3 rows by 3 columns. Or you distribute, and you're going to distribute one term 3 times, and there's going to be 3 terms you're going to do that to. So you're going to have 9 terms total. Okay? It should be 3 rows by 3 columns if you're using the box.
You got one question with 9 individual questions inside.
Which is multiplication, which you've been doing since like 3rd grade. Okay? So whether you distribute or use the box, I want you to try this problem. My recommendation is using the box. So, first of all, you need to give yourself enough space for the box. I'm not going to call anyone out, but some people are trying to squish it in the smallest spot and not actually write it out. So, down the side, 2x squared, 3x, and 1. Across the top, x squared minus 5x and 7. Almost every single person as I came around that got it wrong, added. Make a note to yourself. Multiply to get in the box. Multiply to get in the box. So if you got it wrong because you added, and you know who you are, make a note. So 2x squared times x squared is 2x to the 4th. 2x squared times negative 5 is negative 10x to the 3rd. 2x squared times 7 is 14x squared. So that should be your first row, whether you have it in your row or your column. Those are the 3 terms you should have. Then you get 3x to the 3rd minus 15x squared, and then a 21x. Those should be your next terms, whether you're using a box or distributing. And then the last one is x squared minus 5x and 7. Your like terms are your diagonals, and I have 3 sets of diagonals. Okay, hold on. So 2x to the 4th comes out. Now, to get out of the box, we're going to combine like terms. You're adding and subtracting. So to get in the box, you multiply. To get out, you add and subtract. So negative 10 plus 3. Negative 7x to the 3rd. 1 minus 15. Negative 14. Negative 14 plus 14. 0. So these terms cancel out. My x squareds do. Negative 5 plus 21. Or 21 minus 5. 16x. And then you have the 7 at the end. Okay, so multiply to get in the box. Add, subtract, combine like terms to get out of the box. How did I get negative 7? Negative 10 plus 3. Are you okay with that? Okay. All right. We need to practice because your test next week, listen carefully, your test next week is adding and subtracting and multiplying. They are skills that you've been learning since kindergarten. Okay? You do not want to miss a problem because you multiply wrong or you add or subtract wrong. So take your time. Do not rush through something just to be done with it because you're going to be really angry at yourself if you get a question wrong because you added wrong or subtracted wrong or multiplied wrong. Okay? Yes? And adding and subtracting. All right.